This program is brought to you by the 300ZX from Nissan. The new Nissan.
First in news, this is 10 Eyewitness News with Anne Fulwood.
Good evening. Tonight in the 10 Eyewitness News, an hour of violence that claimed 6 lives, the Australian dollar in decline, and our inflation rate at a 30-year low.
The last time that Australia had a rate like this was when Gattam won the Cup and when Geelong last won the Premiership.
First, the massacre on the New South Wales Central Coast last night. 6 people were killed by shotgun blasts. A young man survived with a serious wound to his face. Charged with the murders, 45-year-old Malcolm Baker from Terrigal.
Around 6 blasts from a 12-gauge shotgun had police rushing to Barnhill Road, Terrigal last night. They found 43-year-old Tom Gannon dead in the street from massive head wounds inflicted at close range. His daughter Kerry, aged 23, had also been shot dead. She'd locked herself in a bedroom. Her sister Lisa, 7 months pregnant at the age of 18 to a Sydney policeman, had also died from head wounds in the lounge room. Paramedics reached Lisa Gannon too late to save the baby she was carrying. But they were able to help 22-year-old Christopher Gall. He'd had the right side of his jaw removed by a shotgun blast.
We're going to split up and go to either end of the coast in case you may get another sighting or something.
A short time later, police were called to Batteau Bay, about 10 kilometres away. David Baker, aged 27, was found dead at the rear of a house in Sherwood Close. Detectives then received word that 35-year-old Ross Smith had been shot dead while in the bath at his home on the Pacific Highway, North Wyong. Leslie Reed, aged 25, in the house with Smith, was also shot. She died later in Gosford Hospital at 2 a.m. As squads of heavily armed police combed North Wyong, news vital to all involved in the manhunts.
Information from Toukley Station that offender has appeared at Toukley Police Station and has surrendered the firearm.
A 45-year-old man had driven himself to Toukley Police Station. Before dawn, the man who surrendered to police was driven from Toukley to Gosford to be charged with the 6 murders.
About 2 hours before Malcolm Baker appeared in Gosford Court, a large crowd of the victim's relatives and friends began to gather in anticipation of his arrival from the local police station.
Where they go? No, they hang you! He's not in there. Where is he?
But this was only a decoy. As distraught onlookers filed into the courthouse, Baker arrived in another vehicle accompanied by an unmarked detective's car.
Hope you burn in hell.
Inside, seating was at a premium as the large crowd attempted to get into the courtroom. Those unable to find seats were forced to listen through the open doorway. Formal proceedings lasted only moments as Baker was charged with 6 counts of murder and 1 of attempted murder. No facts were disclosed. As Magistrate Butler said, could you believe a court granting bail after looking at this list? Bail was then formally refused and Baker remanded in custody to reappear on Friday, December the 18th. Malcolm Baker was then taken from the courthouse, again under heavy security, for the trip back to the local police station.
13 hours after she was shot, the body of Kerry Gannon left the family home. The body of her pregnant sister Lisa Gannon followed a short time later. Detectives then locked the house, having gathered all the evidence required by the prosecution.
Everyone knows everyone, so it's going to be like, you know, everyone's going to miss them a lot, you know.
No, it doesn't happen at Terrigal.
And that's a feeling shared by many others on the Central Coast. Harry Potter, 10 Eyewitness News.
The massacre has brought renewed calls for tougher gun laws. Critics say New South Wales' 3rd massacre in 2 years proves more must be done. New South Wales MP Fred Nile wants compulsory psychological testing introduced for anyone seeking a gun licence.
It should be tightened. If they won't tighten it, if they won't introduce the psychological testing, then I would be happy to introduce a private member's bill myself.
The Premier has defended the current laws, which were tightened only recently.
New South Wales has stringent firearms laws. I believe it is important for there not to be a knee-jerk reaction to an event such as last night.
The new laws ban automatic and semi-automatic weapons, and they give police the right to seize guns from homes with domestic problems. Australia has recorded its lowest annual rate of inflation in nearly 30 years, 0.8%. Treasurer John Dawkins claims it's the lowest rate in the world, but the opposition says with near record unemployment, the human cost in achieving the result has been too high.
Much lower vegetable prices in the June quarter played a big part in keeping our rate of inflation to just 0.1%, for an annual rate of 0.8%, a 30-year low. The banks and businesses cutting consumer credit charges another factor, and a pointer to very slack demand in the economy. Lower home loans, another feature, but don't expect a fall in interest rates soon as a result.
I don't think it's appropriate. I've discussed the matter with the Governor, and we both agree that the settings of monetary policy are appropriate.
Darwin and Adelaide recorded the highest jump in the cost of living. Melbourne, a whisker above zero, with Perth a remarkable fall of 0.2%. The opposition welcomes the low figures, but laments their cause.
A lot of people have paid with their jobs for this low inflation rate, and it's just evidence again of Labor's continuing economic mismanagement and the rolling recession.
Paul Bongiorno, 10 Eyewitness News.
The Aussie dollar is also in decline tonight. Between the close of currency dealings here in Sydney and the opening of trade in London, the dollar was at its lowest point in almost 5 years. Today, despite intervention by the Reserve Bank, the value of the dollar fell by nearly 1.5 US cents to below 70 cents. And in his regular report tonight for 10 Eyewitness News, BRW's Robert Gottliebson reports overseas investors are continuing to dump Australian shares, as well as Aussie dollars.
In theory, it should have been a good day for Australian shares and currency. The CPI index made only a token advance and put Australian inflation among the lowest in the world. But the selling pressure remained on our currency because overseas investors are appalled at the long-term implications of an Australian treasurer allowing the former Victorian Premier Joan Kirner to go on a secret borrowing binge. In addition, data now coming forward indicates that there's been a big rise in the cost of imported goods, and in coming months that's likely to flow through into prices. The fall in the dollar ends hopes of a rate cut, and indeed interest rates may have to rise. The prospect of higher rates and the unhappiness of overseas investors hit the share market. Australia's largest company, BHP, sunk to its lowest level this year, $11.04, before recovering to $11.06. BHP has just gone ex-dividend. Other companies with big overseas shareholdings, including CRA, Western Mining and National Australia Bank, were all hammered. The All Ordinaries Index fell 18 points. Meanwhile, Arnott's chairman Bill Purdy pulled no punches, accusing the huge US food giant Campbell of possibly misleading Arnott's shareholders. Campbell says that they've given key technology to Arnott's, but Purdy says that's not right, and that Arnott's does not need Campbell in Asia. Arnott's shares rose 1 cent and are now 36 cents above the Campbell offer price. This is Robert Gottliebson.
And in other finance news, the Aussie dollar tonight has hovered around the 70 US cent mark, a short time ago trading at 69.90. The pound is on 2.43 Deutschmarks and the Aussie dollar is about 44 pence. Gold's on $338.15 US an ounce. The FT 100 down this morning about 22 points. The Hang Seng a big drop today, down 91, and the Nikkei also down at the close, nearly 117 points. The threat of a world trade war has eased. That story when we come back. Also, today's tough moves to haul Victoria out of debt. And we take a closer look at the man who wants to call the White House home.
He will say anything, do anything to get elected. That is his number one goal in life, is to get elected and re-elected and re-elected.
The 1.6-litre Pulsar delivers 20% more power than Corolla or Laser. 10% better fuel economy than both, and now comes with a whopping 3-year, 100,000-kilometre warranty, plus 24-hour roadside assistance. If you want to see what commitment's all about, get into a Nissan dealer now and check out Wheels Car of the Year, the new Nissan Pulsar. Nothing else even comes close.
Can you put a price on Arnott's? I wonder, can it be done? What price do you put on history? Or on quality second to none? How do you measure achievement or our place in Australia's past? Our kids have grown up on Arnott's, and that's a feeling that's going to last. Yeah, there's a real value here with Arnott's, and I can say with certainty, there's no substitute for Arnott's. We're a world-class company.
Fisher & Paykel replace conventional fridge design forever with soft new lines that make all other refrigerators look prehistoric. Soft line from Fisher & Paykel, the world's coolest fridge.
Phone for your free Telecom National Business Directory, the best red book in any company.
Magnifique. Ça, c'est un pinot noir chardonnay. Alors là, je ne me trompe jamais. Un arôme pareil. I get so homesick. Hardy Sir James. Oh non, 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 c'est pas possible, ça.
Hardy Sir James Cuvée Brut, a fine champagne in anyone's language.
The dress. One easy piece that will take you anywhere. Best dressed. Starting from only $39.
Phone for your free Telecom National Business Directory. The best red book in any company.
Sure looking at you.
I reckon. 8:30 Thursday, distractions abound on a dangerous hunt.
Take it easy, Snake.
Gee, you're a quiet girl.
To find and capture a female croc.
This one.
Continuing the adventure in a two-part special.
Woo! This is the one we're after, bud.
Thursday, 8:30 on Channel 10, The Crocodile Hunter.
An historic decision in the High Court today will change the way Australians view Aboriginal land rights in the future. Land rights until today worked on the basis that Australia was legally unoccupied when the Europeans arrived. But after today's historic Mabo decision, Aboriginals can now claim native title to some of that land. The government says, though, that existing landowners won't lose their private property.
Suggestion whatsoever by any lawyer that anybody who has an interest in land is going to be shifted and removed from the land. It's just not on.
But there could be a problem because large tracts of leasehold land now used for farming and mining might be claimed.
And unless you've got a guarantee that you have proper title, you're not going to make an investment decision, and that's where we have the significant ramifications for Australia.
The government says there will be a year-long community consultation and further High Court test cases to solve any problems. Victorian Premier Jeff Kennett moved today to haul his state out of debt. He brought down a tough mini-budget that ends holiday pay loadings for up to 1 million workers. It axes thousands of public service jobs and slugs families $600 a year more in higher taxes and charges.
It's Victoria's toughest economic statement in a decade. From tonight, the end of the 17.5% annual leave loading for 280,000 state government workers and 500,000 under state awards in the private sector. As well, 7,000 public servants will be sacked by June. In all, the government will save $600 million, but every householder will be worse off. There's a $100 tax on every rateable property with exemptions for hardship cases.
This is more appropriately described as the Kane-Kerner tax.
Power, gas and water bills jump around 10%, adding up to $50 a year on each bill. Motor registration fees double, while a 25-pack of cigarettes will cost 60 cents more from January. A new Club Keno game will raise $25 million, and motorists will save 2 to 3 cents a litre when the pyramid petrol levy is dropped next year. But public transport will cost 10% more each trip.
There is no escaping this hardship. It has been forced on the people of Victoria by the incompetence of the previous Labor government.
And tomorrow the government will detail plans to outlaw strikes, while an award or agreement is in force for essential services including public transport, health and power, or in secondary or third-party disputes. The penalties up to $50,000 for unions, $1,000 for individuals.
It will take us back, to the days of children in the mines.
Bernadette Nunn, 10 Eyewitness News.
Overseas now, the intervention of United States President George Bush offers hope that talks on a new world agreement on trade and tariffs can resume. The talks collapsed last week, threatening to plunge the world into a damaging trade war.
Farmers demonstrating at the Luxembourg meeting. Inside, agriculture ministers had spent 2 days insisting they wouldn't agree to American demands for cuts in EC farm subsidies. Too great a price to pay for a world trade deal. Now their firm stand has paid off. Suddenly the Americans asking for an urgent meeting with the EC Agriculture Commissioner.
We are continuing negotiation to try and find a solution that's politically acceptable to both of us.
The EC ministers know negotiating a world trade deal requires a poker player's nerves. Now the Americans appear to have blinked first. tomorrow, they're expected to make concessions, hoping to achieve a deal before the American elections.
Every indication is that we are not beyond the bounds of an agreement. Therefore, why don't we get on and solve it?
And speaking on the election trail in Des Moines, Iowa, President Bush said he was confident a deal was possible. Differences with the community now narrowed. The EC's Agriculture Commissioner heads for America with fresh hope. Ray McSharry aware an agreement would do much to create new business opportunities in the midst of this recession.
And in the race to the White House, pollsters now say that Democrat Bill Clinton is leading in 24 states. George Bush is ahead in only 3. No state has Ross Perot leading. With a week to go, Clinton seems to have the presidency within his grasp.
The Clinton roadshow keeps rolling along in states normally won by Republicans. A year ago, most Americans had never even heard of him, but as the Bush campaign pursued issues most Americans find irrelevant, family values and foreign policy, Governor Clinton's relentless campaigning on the failures of the economy has transformed him from obscurity to the brink, he hopes, of the White House, portraying himself as the man in touch with the people.
I want to know if you know how much it costs to buy a pound of hamburger, a pair of blue jeans, a tank of gas, and visit the doctor's office.
Well, gasoline is about $1.20, depending on what kind of gasoline it is. Hamburger meat's a little over $1. Gallon of milk's $2.
Yet from the start, Clinton's campaign could have come unglued over Jennifer Flowers' unproven adultery allegations.
Yes, I was Bill Clinton's lover for 12 years.
But instead of crumbling, his handling of this crisis made Clinton a household name, and friends say demonstrated his grace under pressure.
And some people, when they're hit by a barrage of negative press, will tend to retreat and literally to jump in that foxhole and close the doors and surround themselves only with their very closest advisors. And Bill Clinton did none of that.
Heavenly Father, we pray that you give Governor Bill Clinton peace.
But there is a less flattering view of the comeback kid, that anything, including his Southern Baptist faith, is exploitable for political ends.
He will say anything, do anything to get elected. That is his #1 goal in life, is to get elected and reelected and reelected. He concentrates on that to the exclusion of everything else. He doesn't care about money. I'm surprised that he cares about women.
Coming up, we have sport and the gauntlet's thrown down to Borders boys. Also, is he planning a comeback?
Actually, the manager's had a few talks to a few other AFL clubs, so I could be making a big comeback. So look out.
There are no prizes for second. At the new Nissan, we're committed to bringing Australian motorists world-class technology that's second to none. We won't settle for anything less, and neither should you.
For one person to keep a balanced view and be entertaining is difficult. On 2GB News Plus, you get news plus views and information from many people, which is far more entertaining.
Take home this big screen Samsung stereo TV free for 6 months with teletext and a bonus stand, and pay nothing till April next year. Brashers call this their 6 months free lay-by at home. No deposit, no interest, no charges. But hurry, it must end November 7th. Where? The answer is Brashers.
The past decade was an unfortunate time for investors. Investing became so complex and ever-changing that most of us couldn't fully understand the basics of it, let alone the subtleties. Well, now that's going to change. Macquarie, whom you probably know as one of Australia's leading investment institutions, is setting out to demystify this whole process, to make investing simpler and easier to understand. How? Well, for my part, it'll be through a series of television interviews. But Macquarie will also be doing books, seminars, and a range of other things that could change the way you look at investing. In the meantime, if you'd like to know more, don't ask me, ask Macquarie.
Look
Looks like word's got out about Grace Brothers Broadway's historic $10 million closing sale, which starts tomorrow. Sensational savings of 50% on Dryglow, Heritage and Dickies will have you cheering for more. And for great value, this Playtex offer is just one of many that deserves a standing ovation. Here's another classic, plain or striped business shirts for just $9.95. So come and give your regards to Broadway before it closes on Sunday the 8th of November, forever.
OPSM announced Designer Affordables, a stunning new range of fashion frames, over 300, from $50 to $150. Designer Affordables, exclusive to OPSM, perfect.
Wilbur Smith's greatest novel, The Burning Shore, comes to television for the first time.
I will take.
Starts Sunday on Channel 10, The Burning Shore.
A jury in Southport, Queensland today took less than an hour to clear former AFL great Warwick Capper of charges of assault and burglary. Outside the court, Capper expressed relief and hinted he could be making a sporting comeback.
The man who was once the brightest star in the AFL described his trial as tougher than a grand final, but he always had a feeling he'd win.
Yeah, I was rather confident. I thought I was innocent all along, so I'm glad it's over now. I can concentrate on the movie career now.
Capper's estranged wife, Joanne, who told police he attacked her new boyfriend after kicking in the front door, wasn't in court today to hear the verdict. A domestic violence order prevents Warwick from making any contact with Joanne till late next month, but he says he won't be seeing her then either.
Nah, I'm right now. I'm over that.
Capper says he's back in training for another football season and is negotiating with a couple of teams from the south.
It's either I'm playing for Southport or actually the manager's had a few talks to a few other AFL clubs, so I could be making a big comeback. So look out.
At least one football fan was waiting for Warwick outside the court today, but he can expect a whole new class of groupie when his first film comes out next year. Ironically, Warwick plays a convict in a futuristic prison. Karen Berkman, 10 Eyewitness News.
It does make you smile, doesn't he? Rugby union and another setback for the Wallabies on the eve of Saturday's test against Ireland. Centre Anthony Herbert has cracked 3 lower vertebrae and he becomes the 3rd player to be sent home. Herbert was injured in last night's win over the provincial side Connaught. On a brighter note, front rower Matt Ryan scored his first ever try in Australian colours, boosting his test chances. The final score, 14-6 to the Wallabies.
And the try has been given.
With the wind and the cold and the opposition full of passion, makes it very hard.
You can catch Saturday's test against Ireland at Lansdowne Road, live and exclusive here on Network 10. Well, it's that time of year again, and that team is here again. The West Indies arrived today, promising a 5-0 whitewash of Australia in their forthcoming test series. But they were at pains to stress that they don't want a repeat of some ugly sledging incidents which marred the last series.
We expect the series to be a clean one, free of incident. We're willing to do our part to make sure that this happens.
The West Indies team hierarchy, at pains to say they want no part of incidents like this clash between Ian Healy and Desmond Haynes the last time the two teams met in the Caribbean last year, when the differences between the sides was exacerbated by Windies captain Viv Richards criticising Australian coach Bob Simpson.
So we're just looking forward to playing exciting cricket, play to the best of our ability, and to do very well.
A more positive message from the group, who left Barbados last Saturday night and arrived in Australia the best part of 4 days later. It was a testing journey. Little wonder giant fast bowler Curtly Ambrose was having nothing to say to the media. His partner in pace, Ian Bishop, recovered from back injuries which cut short his last tour to Australia, was a bit more talkative.
How's your back?
It's fine.
Back to full strength?
Yes, and I hope that over the series they'll prove that.
It's a long time, 17 years to be precise, since Australia won a series against the West Indies. But this team is weakened by the retirement of several champions. The first test not until November 27 in Brisbane. And, Richardson admitted, there are high expectations from back home.
They want to see us beat Australia 5-0 if possible. And so we've got to go out and do that.
Ian Brayshaw, 10 Eyewitness News.
The first cars have begun arriving for this year's Adelaide Grand Prix. The main concern for organisers, though, is their run of rain-affected races.
I think you could put it somewhere between $500,000 to $1 million in terms of loss of ticket sales to the event. Of course, there also can be other costs incurred with wet weather as far as facilities on the circuit, but we're being optimistic this year and hopefully we'll have sunny weather for race day.
The Grand Prix board is now considering taking out wet weather insurance. For the first time, a pace car will also be used if the heavens open up again. Today produced the first of 3 shipments of cars and equipment from Japan. The Formula One action begins next Friday. And not quite sport, but the annual Koala catch is underway on French Island in Victoria's Western Port Bay. Over the next few days, more than 100 koalas will be caught and then transported to parks where koala numbers are down.
Catching koalas is a highly skilled and sensitive operation. A red flag is waved above the koala to coax it down the tree. Then, when the koala is within reach, it's quickly noosed and dragged to the ground. Koalas are then tagged and placed in wooden crates for transporting. French Island in Western Port Bay is overpopulated with koalas. During the annual catch, about 120 are caught and sent to parks around the state.
And the reason we do it is that we're getting too many koalas on French Island. If we allow the population to build up, the trees will start dying due to defoliation by the koalas.
French Island is just one of 2 places in Victoria where the koala population is free and isolated of the sexually transmitted disease chlamydia. So parks and wildlife sanctuaries receiving these koalas are guaranteed they're not infected. French Island is not accessible by road, so the koalas are shipped across to the mainland with the help of the Navy by boat. These particular koalas are on their way to Lorne, where they'll establish a new and healthy population. Karen O'Sullivan, 10 Eyewitness News.
Oh, poor little things. Coming up, we have the weather around the nation, a successful whale rescue across the Tasman, and east meets west, literally.
Everyone's a winner this week on 10. On Friday, when Kurt Russell finds himself in serious trouble, it takes every trick in the book to come out on top in Big Trouble in Little China. And on Saturday, Sean Connery is Bond. James Bond. In Diamonds Are Forever. Everyone's a winner this week on Channel 10.
Are you telling me it lasts 8 hours?
Mm-hmm.
8 hours?
Mm.
Must be really something.
Yeah.
Can I just...
New Banana Boat Ultra, SPF 15+. The sunscreen lotion that offers up to 8-hour water resistance.
Hey, get your hands off my banana.
Banana Boat. Funny name. Serious stuff.
Now, Fisher & Paykel replace conventional fridge design forever with a unique dual cooling system that keeps food fresher longer.
Now that is fresh.
Softline from Fisher & Paykel, the world's coolest fridge.
You can take home this Sony remote hi-fi system free for 6 months with 5-disc CD player and pay nothing till April next year. Brashers call this their 6 months free lay-by at home. No deposit, no interest, no charges. But hurry, it must end November 7. Where? The answer is Brashers.
How much would you expect to pay for this remote control 68-centimeter color TV? Not $1,899 retail, just $969 wholesale at Campbell's. Save over $900. And how much would you expect to pay for this remote control Hitachi Fujian 53-centimeter color TV? Retail price $699, Campbell's wholesale price just $499. And this remote control 53-centimeter premier brand TV only $479. Are you listening, honey? 68-centimeter remote control color TV just $969. 53-centimeter Hitachi Fuji color TV just $499. And premier 53-centimeter remote control color TV just $479. But wait, there's more. Buy any of these TVs and you'll get a free 12-month home service warranty and a free 3-year warranty on your picture too, but only at Campbell's. These are the cheapest TVs in Australia, so you better get here quick or you'll miss out, honey. Hey, address is in the white and yellow pages.
The past decade was an unfortunate time for investors. Investing became so complex and ever-changing that most of us couldn't fully understand the basics of it, let alone the subtleties. Well, now that's going to change. Macquarie, whom you probably know as one of Australia's leading investment institutions, is setting out to demystify this whole process, to make investing simpler and easier to understand. How? Well, for my part, it'll be through a series of television interviews. But Macquarie will also be doing books, seminars, and a range of other things that could change the way you look at investing. In the meantime, if you'd like to know more, don't ask me, ask Macquarie.
Now taking a look at the weather around the country, and today it was fine in Brisbane and Perth, a bit cloudy in Adelaide, 25 degrees though, Melbourne and Sydney also, wet in Canberra, just 21 degrees. Looking at the satellite picture, there's a massive activity over the South Australian area which will bring rain and thunderstorms to the state before spilling into New South Wales and Victorian areas over the next few days. The synoptic chart for tomorrow shows a southerly change that's going to move into the central and western parts of New South Wales tomorrow, reaching the coastal areas by Friday, along with the low already over the eastern states. That change will cause storms on Saturday. Now looking at tomorrow, whichever city you're in, it's going to be a bit wet tomorrow in Sydney, 23, Canberra and Adelaide also expecting a storm or a shower. Brisbane, Melbourne and Perth should be fine. Looking ahead over the next few days, fine in Brisbane, storms for Sydney, unsettled in Canberra, storms in Melbourne, then fine. Adelaide clearing for the weekend, Perth hot. Internationally, wherever you're going, Rome 20, Tokyo 21 degrees. The sounds of America's back roads are making their mark in Japan. Country music has well and truly reached the land of the rising sun.
What you gonna do is a cowboy?
That's a good question in Japan.
Well, I was here in 1955. We brought country music as young Marines, young soldiers in Navy and all that. We brought our music over here. We used to go in a honky-tonk and drink a big Nippon beer or some Akadama wine or tourist whiskey and listen to a song by Wanda Jackson called My Fujiyama Mama.
I'm turning.
And now country is clearly cool. Just call him Johnny.
My teacher is John Wayne. Real name, Mario Michael Morrison, John Wayne.
Most of the Japanese don't understand what they say in country music. They don't understand English, right? They just understand the music. So they don't care, actually.
I was waltzing with my darling to the Tennessee woods when an old friend I happened to see.
Don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, I just don't think it out the sea. And if you tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, it might blow and kill this man.
Who needs lyrics anyway? It's still country, and that's all they need to know.
Well, that's all for now. On Good Morning Australia tomorrow morning, we've got the mental trigger that makes men commit mass murders. That's the question they're asking on Good Morning Australia. And we leave you now with pictures from New Zealand, where 50 beached pilot whales have been helped back to sea. I'm Anne Ford. I'll see you tomorrow night. Good night.
This program was brought to you by the 300ZX from Nissan. The new Nissan.